Good, I'm good, I'm good.
Great to see you after long since you've left TNT and been to how many places I do not know. So let's jump right in. Tell us what you've been doing over the last year and some, and
Ah,
what's happening now.
well, the last year was like a kind of a roller coaster, to be honest. I definitely went to a lot more places than I anticipated because I mean, I left Trinidad with the intentions of representing Trinidad in Bali at the Thrive Bali Experience exchange. That's the name, the Thrive Bali, and it was an exchange between Geneva, Dubai, Indonesia, and Trinidad and Tobago talent. And it was for creatives from those countries and basically anybody else around the world who happened to be in Bali at the time to experience. So it was like it was music, it was fashion, it was art, it was movies, it was like a little bit of everything in the creative sector.
Nice
And I
melting
mean,
pot.
it was amazing actually. Like especially as Bali. Bali is amazing. So when I got there, it just sort of, I mean, the environment is very conducive to creativity. So
Right.
immediately you feel like you can do anything. And, it's a very, the culture is very welcoming. The people are very open-minded. And as I said, it's just genuinely a creative space. So I just felt to stay. And then my manager at that, he was like, he was not even my manager at that time, that's Ethan. He just sort of was like, I'm gonna stay too. And then, but the difference was he went back to sort of things where he was in Europe, and then he came back. But I just stayed, and from there we started planning certain things because, as I said, it's also this place where once you say you want to do something, it sort of falls
Fall into
together.
place. Yes, I
So,
follow you.
we wanted to do performances throughout Europe. All of a sudden, there were performances throughout, not Europe, Asia. All of a sudden, there were performances throughout Asia that were becoming available, So we had opportunities in Singapore. We had opportunities in we even had discussions with Australia, but those were postponed to 2020.
And then COVID happened.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And then so we went to Vietnam, like we got quite a bit of movement going. And then even on the ground in Bali itself as well, it's just as I said, you meet so many different people from around the world there. So, and some are there just to relax, but then you have people, creatives who are looking for collaborations. And there was just a lot of opportunity to do that there, So I
Yeah.
met quite a few artists from around the world, musicians, producers, and then outside of just directly music, you got, people in fashion and it was just like, a lot of things that just kept coming up and happening and happening and happening and happening. And the time just flew by, honestly. And
How has
then,
that helped your creative
well,
process?
it's honestly, my sound has changed entirely.
Okay.
Um, I won't say entirely because I keep elements of my own original stuff, but
Right.
original, my older stuff. But I think my writing style has evolved. I I don't know. I've tried different things musically now. You know,
Yeah.
um, my mind has opened quite a bit to a lot of the elements that I was exposed to, and
Yes.
so as a sound is even more it's more expansive than it was before. So
I like.
uh, yeah, so it's like okay, it's not just I wouldn't be able to say, okay, I'm a jazz or soul or this or that. I mean, I've never been able to just put myself in one genre. But now even more. Before a lot of my music, I will say was sadder. It was because it was inspired by heartbreak or,
I know.
some kind of
I know.
pain or whatever. And I found like a playful side, a happier side to stuff and even the love songs that I have written are happier love songs, and like even the sadder songs that the tone and quality of I don't know, it's just a different mood of sad.
Well, artists on the whole take
Yeah.
inspiration from how they feel. So I
Mm.
guess that goes with the territory. Change breathes new life into your
Yes, you go with
creativity.
that. Yes, I feel like I know what you're trying to insinuate. Um, but yeah, so that's been the past year, and then well now, I had intentions of performing, but then like
Yeah.
for 2020 we had sat down and we had planned out what we intended to execute over the
Mm.
first quarter of 2020 when it came to releases and strategies and promotions and meetings and all of these different things, and
Yeah.
that just went out the window like in no time flat. And finding myself in this time has been very difficult actually, because this was the first year that seemed to have been like, okay, pre-planned to that extent, like,
Yeah.
so we
I
did
follow
the
you.
full schedule of things. And I found myself like a fish out of water trying to figure out, well, all right, so what do I do now? And I was like, I focus on my writing, but I have so much written content. So then I was like, okay, so then let's focus on, trying to
Get
decide, all
something
right,
out.
well, like how was the new strategy? How am I supposed to adapt in this time? And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm still sort of sorting through that, but I'm constantly inspired. So yeah,
Has it
that's
been a
it.
good experience in this pandemic? I know you said it has been challenging in terms of what you would have planned before.
Hmm.
How how has been your coping been?
My coping, well,
That's it.
3/4 of the pandemic so far, where it is as it has impacted myself and the people around me. Um, 3/4 of that time I've spent in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
I landed in Europe mid-March.
Which part
Uh,
of Europe are you?
I am currently in the Netherlands, but this thing about it, and I like the story of it.
Yeah.
It is quite for me. It's like I can't believe I did this. So it's so I'll give you a bit of it. I was supposed to come across to Europe to sing and also to have some meetings, and part of my stop in Belgium, I was supposed to get some recordings done and so. But another part of that was to meet somebody, and I did. Um, so the rest of things got cancelled, and I was like, should I still get on this plane? But also, there's a mandatory time limit you can spend in, Bali, unless
Okay.
you working there, and I wasn't working there, so I was just my time was up, and I was like, well, okay, I can still do this. I'm gonna get on this plane. This is just gonna be an adventure. I have to leave anyway. I'm gonna get on it, whatever happens. And so I'm flying from Bali to Dubai, no,
Yeah.
Doha. And while I'm in the air, I get an hour free internet, and I'm communicating with a certain individual, and the
Uh-huh.
person said to me, so the government of Belgium just decided they're closing down the country to
Wow.
international travelers. And I'm like, what? What do you mean? And he's like, yeah, let me see if I can get some more information on that. I'm like,
Wow.
oh, because I'm in the air. I
Yes,
land
you are.
and I immediately went to check to see, like if the flight had been cancelled from Qatar to Belgium. And it hadn't been. And I'm there and I'm just like, I reached the gate and the woman's like, so what is your intention of going to Belgium at this time? And I'm heading to England. Like that's the plan. I'm still heading to England. That's where I'm going. And she's like looking at me skeptically, and I'm like, oh God. And then I get on the plane, and again I get another hour of free internet. So I waited until it was well into the flight, the length of flight.
Yes.
Turn it on, praying not to see the worst news ever, and I get the news that they're closing at 12. And
And
12,
what
I'm
time was it?
and and my flight was scheduled to land at 1:30 p.m. and it's now
Okay.
2 p.m. So I'm like, so we're gonna
Wow.
have my land. And so I was really nervous getting there. And then when I got to Belgium, they had nothing in place. Like I got through immigration so quickly that I wasn't even sure I had finished the process. I was
You're
like,
so fortunate.
that's it, like that's get a message. I was like, I got a stamp in my passport. Is that like I wasn't even sure. I tried to exit the airport nowadays, but it was, as I said, it was that, and um, I found, like I found this, I'm gonna share it. I found this program.